Hello, hello, hello. My horrible voice. My horrible voice at 5 o'clock in the evening in California. There's some things going on in the world that see when you don't watch the news, right? You don't see a lot of the fake crap, right? Let me get a drink of water. But you also don't see what's going on either. And so there's a lot of things that are going on that what's going on, AJ? There's a lot of things going on that I wasn't aware of, right? And so it kind of gave me this ability to kind of hang out in denial a little bit, right? That things weren't quite as bad. But on the other token, right, when you're always like, okay, I don't watch TV or anything, so I'm always in reality, right? And that's good in the sense that I don't see any of the fake stuff, but um, and so you think you've seen the worst of it, but in reality, um, the worst of it is not in America. And I have a friend that's um, he's in Holland, I think, or um, I have a friend that's in Holland, and he is sending me phone videos, right, from his phone of being like attacked in the streets, like hit war in the streets in Holland, war, like like close contact fighting, right? Uh, mass fighting in the streets, like slightly worse than a riot. And that's terrifying, man. For like, if you were out there, you would think that this is the end. There's no doubt, right? And I'm sure that a lot of places have been able to say that, right? Yeah, I mean, yes, Deb. Yeah, because a lot of them don't have weapons, right? So they're fighting these police yeah, hand to hand, I guess. And so he's sending me some videos of like his friend who got hit in the face, and then some other stuff, right? And so that's terrifying, right? Yeah, they have used bullets for sure. People were getting shot out there, yes. And but the people don't have bullets, you know? That's the thing. That's the problem. The police have the guns. That's the crazy part. Is how do you I mean, how do they I don't know how you justify that unless it's just so many of them that you just can't. I don't know. I'm not there. So I'm just going to go by what my friend says, and it's horrific, right? For now. Yeah, prayers, right? Then I think that that's the worst of it. But then I see like what's going on in Australia, right? Another report from there. Um, they're going to have like this, I don't know, New Year's celebration. And it's supposed to be opening up Melbourne again. And yeah, everything's collapsing, DD. And so Melbourne is opening up, but they have to pay to be in a fenced in area. Like there's four fenced in areas that they could be in, and they got to pay to go in there. And that's only if you have the VACC, right? Like if you don't have that, you can't leave your house. But even if you do have it, you have to pay to go to the city to stand in a fenced in area. And so I don't know what's worse, right? Being completely locked down, right? Completely locked down, or probably it's worse in Holland, war in the street. but it's just unbelievable. Clutch, I'm talking about in Holland, there's like fighting to the point of like where it's like war, and I'm getting these um like phone videos that are short, like 30 seconds, 20 seconds from Rubik's, who is he hangs out at a lot of flat earth channels. In fact, you might see Rubik's at Arwen's because Arwen is close to where the war is right now, or like where the riot is, if you want to call it a riot for now. I guess Arwen would be the closest that I know besides Ruben, right? Um, and then Australia's locked up. I don't know what's going on with Austria. Do you guys know what's going on with Austria? Because that's I heard they just started getting rough, but it might be worse than both of those other places. And so, who's from New Zealand? I thought someone was from New Zealand here. And I'd be interested to know if like the other I don't know what you would call them, right? Where you guys are like territories of the crown almost, right? I don't know how that gets figured out. I'm not sure. Yeah, things are kicking off hard, man. Clutch, you are right about that. And but this is what's crazy is like people firing bullets, man, at people with no weapons. I don't think I've ever seen. Okay, Dee Dee's from New Zealand. I knew one of you guys were. A 15-year-old kids the other day were skipping school, and if they went and got their shot, they would get a $20 Grouchy voucher. Oh my God. They went up to two kids, and is that legal? I mean, are they adults at that age in New Zealand? I know in Australia, um, I had a friend tell me a long time ago that it was 16, but that's young, man. Even 18 is young to be making a decision to get one of these shots. I mean, I feel like I'm too young to be put under this pressure, right? Is anybody old enough to submit to this kind of thing? Like, I mean, this is a hill I'm willing to die on. Hey, Cole, how you doing, buddy? My son is here. I love you, son. I can't believe that they're like trying to get kids to take this shot, and then the war. I mean, just war breaking out and people be on lockdowns. But you know what? It gives us good confirmation, right? I say this all the time, right? It gives us good confirmation because in the Bible it tells us, right, that these things were going to happen, and there would be tough times for us, and that if it happens in this way as predicted, right, which would be impossible to predict this 2,000 years ago, right? Um, that I mean, the confirmation is unbelievable that that God is real. I mean, I was at a point in my life, right, when I was younger, that I couldn't even picture how it could be real, right? Because I'm like, well, how does some magic dude come out of nowhere, and make everything happen? It's not here, right? It didn't. How does it happen naturally, right? And now I can't picture anything forming naturally. Like now, I can't picture anything not being from God, right? Like just how complicated everything is in the world, right? If you think about it in the sense of like video games, right? Everything is programmed, right? Every piece of material in your video game is programmed to act a certain way. Certain things melt, certain things heal you, certain things give you power, certain things, these things, right? Well, in real life, it's like that too. Like iron acts how iron acts, it melts at a certain temperature, Wood burns at a certain temperature. Some things are gas, some things are liquid. The information has to exist prior to the substance, so it knows how to act. And the only way for that to happen is for there to be an intelligent designer, and that's been like proven on the quantum mechanical level. As far as um, when they're doing the I forget what it's called, like the interference patterns, right? The light interference patterns. It's pretty remarkable, right? Now, of course, there's question as to what exactly exists on that quantum level, because that's another model, right? That's another model of how things work. And I mean, theoretical particle physics, you can pretty much, I mean, I don't know if you could throw it out. Some of it is good, right? But anytime you subtract God as a variable, right, you're not in reality. So in New Zealand, the prime minister told 12-year-old kids they're old enough to make their own informed decision about it. Oh my God. Oh my God. So Roots, a reggae band that you like at midnight for a reason lyrics, locked down in the prison house, 2002. They were way ahead. Yeah. Well, not only that, right? But there's songs, right? That that predict all this stuff, right? Like I mean, once you break it down, right? Especially if you read the Bible a lot, right? You're gonna notice that every single song, right, is about God. Like, not only is every song about God, but there's a biblical concept in everything. Even like the mumble rap from today is like all based in some kind of occultic, um, occultic religion, right? Some kind of Satanism. And it's just crazy how like you won't find any, like you don't find any dissenting opinions, right? Like um, among like celebrities and anybody with a big platform, right? I mean, it's controlled, right? Like think about this, right? There's like child stars from like way back in the 70s or 80s, right? Where are they now? They should be like making a fool of themselves, making comments on Twitter. Like when was the last time you've seen like any celebrity from any time period making like interaction with regular people? I mean, that should be a red flag, right? Like you don't see like you know any people from the Brady Bunch like outside of McDonald's or something. I mean, yeah, you might see like I was watching I think Quantum of Conscious or something, and he was like, yeah, you might see them in a bar or something like that, right? Like in a club. But I mean, they would be like unapproachable, that kind of thing, right? Like think about that human interaction, right? You would think that like there's probably like people in movies from like the 80s that they don't have their fame anymore and they're out of money, that they would be doing some kind of like low budget production of some play, to make a few bucks, right? To you know have an old star in one of their plays or something. But you don't see that, right? You don't see that very often. Maybe you see it just enough so they could say it happens, but not to the point where you would think, right? It's like if you're a celebrity forever. And that's not normal. That's not natural, right? If you run out of money, you should be somewhere making a fool of yourself, especially if you have a little fame. But it's like they all stay in Hollywood or they all stay in, Washington or wherever they're from, wherever they are, with those big platforms, right? Yeah, you guys are all in my prayers. I mean, I pray for you guys faithfully every day. This is the best part of my day, to be honest. There's three parts of my day that are great, right? It's the morning show, the afternoon show, and then, when I get to talk to my kids. That's it, like I mean, I enjoy talking to my mom and whenever that is, and like there's things that I do with my friends here and there, but mostly it's you guys and my kids, you know. I mean, in my relationship with God, because I know what it is. It's number one, I know what's going to make me happy, right? And that's the way I want to stay, is happy. And then also I know what's going to get us out of here, you know, with the least amount of damage and the best mood, right? Best mood possible is to know that we're on the right side of this, and this is all going to be worth it, you know? It's all going to be worth it. The family we got to meet was like talking like this. They even flat earth believers, it was nice to do in person. Oh, really? You met a family that or you mean us? Because this is like the family I'm going to remember, right? But so you met a family that were flat earth believers. Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I had one friend that I was able to I showed her like what was going on, and she got it right away, you know. Oh, wow, that's great. Do you have another one that lives right by you? Because usually we're spread out pretty far, right? People think we're crazy, but I mean, if they understood what we understood and spent the hours we spent studying this stuff, like I forgot more about dinosaurs than most people will ever know. You know what I mean? And then they want to tell me, no, I know it's real, and you don't. You know, they automatically take the other side, even though I could probably have a PhD in paleontology. You know, I mean, think about how many hours of school you would go to, right? Like an hour 3 times a week for 4 years or something. That's nothing compared to the 8 hours a day we went into flat earth and dinosaurs and all this stuff, right? Oh yeah, yeah, flat earth will definitely make you stronger in God. It'll definitely increase your faith, because once you know that you live on a flat stationary plane, I mean, how would that happen naturally? It can't happen naturally. And that's one of the things that like we can prove, right? Is that maybe we don't know the dimensions of it, but we know that it's flat in geometric orientation, meaning that there's only one way up and one way down, right? And because we're not moving. I mean, for anyone to think that we're moving, I mean, that's a serious brainwashing job that they had on us, convinced us we're flying around. Especially when like acceleration is built into an orbital path, right? Would have built-in acceleration as it turns, right? So you're talking uh, like four different orbital paths, 11 vectors, right? That's 11 vectors, and your water stays completely still on your coffee table. Your pictures don't fall off your mantle. I mean, you could have a pendulum sit on your desk and not move for 8 years, man. It's unbelievable. Hey, Alex, glad you're listening. Yeah, I mean, it's getting that way, right? Where it's like we're going to be pushed into a corner, right? Where we're going to have to either let whatever's going to happen happen, right? Or we're going to have to make a choice. We're going to have to just like, I mean, I've made most of my decisions already, what I'm going to do, right? But I understand if you guys haven't yet. It's going to be tough to do in the moment, guys. Like that's what I'll say. It's going to be tough to do in the moment. Try to figure out like, okay, this is the line that I'm going to go, and I hate that we even have to talk this way, right? You almost wish like we were back in the 80s or something, right? Where we still had some time to think about all this stuff, right? And maybe if the generation before us took it a little more serious, right? Maybe we would be in a different position right now. But woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? Especially in how purposeful this creation is by God, right? To think that it could have gone differently, that's a little unfair, I guess. But like, I didn't think it was that bad in Holland, man. Does that seem like a place where war would break out, like riots would break out? It seems like that would be like a vacation spot, right? A place where you would go to escape from everything. Like New Zealand to me sounds like a dream, but maybe when you're there, it's different, right? That's right. You better have your lamp oiled up. That's right. You better be ready for his return, right? And I think that's important, And I was watching Paula today over at the Level Up channel, and it's very important that especially when we speak for God, right, that we're very careful that we know what we're saying, right? Because there's extra judgment for that, like I'm at the point where when I'm on this channel, I have speech problems, right? Like I say certain words over and over and over again, right? And when I'm on other platforms, I'm not as nervous, right? Like I don't say any of that, So I don't want to be messing up your guys' speech patterns because you have to hear my bad speech habits, But I'm nervous to and I should be, right? Fear and trembling when you start talking about what you think God wants, right? You should be very, very careful with that. And I know a lot of times it sounds like I'm not taking a position on things, but it's only because I can see it both ways. And it's scary I don't want to be wrong about that. I'd rather be prepared for the worst possible thing, right? Because it says how many times just in Revelation, I don't know. Well, I know that when I started counting how many times it said don't be deceived, I got to 40 and stopped counting. And so I'm sure that if you did a search on the King James Bible, right, of the word deceived, I'm sure it's like, I don't know how many times it would be in there, but hundreds, if not thousands, right? They will try to burn your holy oil with all this negative narrative. I think we need to remember the true narrative, that we know the truth. We need to remain in that truth. Absolutely. Psalm 2, chapter 11, Psalm chapter 2, verse 11. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling. Yeah, I like that. I definitely like that. Just like there's a verse that says, work out your salvation in fear and trembling. But you're right. You're right. Remembering the true narrative is important, that the world fell and God made a way to reconcile us back to him, to redeem us. And Jesus came and took our punishment, sacrificed himself so that we could go to the next world with him where we wouldn't have any of this fallen stuff. And so that's the true narrative, right? And that's why there's a rainbow, right? Because that's God's promise that he wouldn't flood the earth. And so when people are waving a rainbow in his face, right, doing whatever they want, it means much more, right? It means much more when you know where that came from, right? Philippians chapter 2, verse 12. Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now how much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. And see, this is a good verse about, like, we also got to do what's right when no one's looking, right? Because God is always watching. Yeah, see, DD, that's like waving like a big middle finger, right? Like, I mean, I hate to say it that way, but that's what it's like, right? just like having an obelisk, um, having an obelisk in Washington with those dimensions, right? With the all the sixes, right? That's it's just unbelievable, man. Like if once you know what things are, and you get a good idea of what history really is, right? That it's not really a war between countries, right? It's countries in a sense that they're all trying to work out a deal to come together for their common goal, right? Which is to build Babylon, basically. And they hate us, right? We're the biggest wrench in their problem, in their system, right? We're their biggest problem. And it's sad because, like, I bet each one of us in here, right, probably wants what's best for them, you know? We were made to enjoy the splendor, and I love the splendor. Exactly, Sheila. Like, if you take away the narrative, right, and you just look at like the trees and the mountains and the birds and and the animals and stuff, right? That all that's still good, right? God spoke that into existence, um, and He said it was good, right? It is. It's good. Yeah, wars are to bankrupt nations, but not just nations, right? It's made just to bankrupt the people. While all the top people in every nation, they just line their pockets, right? They give all the money to their friends, right? It's only the citizens that lose. None of the leadership, has a stake in it. They don't have any skin in the game like us, right? It's either we join the military or it's our kids or or whatever, right? All these see, we got to start understanding that, like, the real enemy is not about like left and right or country versus country. It's up and down, right? It's the top versus bottom. And 1% of the world has as much money as the other, rest of the population. That's crazy. That's you know. Dee Dee says, that's what I tell everyone. They tell me I'm being negative. Right, right. And you're not. You're only trying to show them that yeah, right. Well, that's why they wave it, right? It's what do you think? What's the parade called, right? And what's like one of the things that God hates the most, right? Is it's the pride more than anything, right? It has nothing to, I mean, yes, there's rules against our sexual behavior. We're not supposed to have sin in that way, right? That's what it really is destroying the world, right? But the pride on top of that is what really makes it um, really rubs it in, right? And God's watching all of that, right? And they know it. They act like they're atheist or something, but they're not. Either that or they're really deceived, right? And they steal beautiful things and sour them. Yeah, I mean, they call good things bad and bad things good, right? Oh yeah, the war is spiritual. There's no doubt. There is no doubt. If you have to fight, it should be local. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, pride before the fall, right? I mean, yeah. Well, see, the rainbows, right? With the Noahide laws, right? That's all tied in together, right? So the rainbow is the promise to Noah, right? That he would not flood the earth anymore. That no matter what happened, right? That he wouldn't flood the earth. And so they know that, right? So they wave it in God's face, like you can't do anything to us, that kind of a behavior, right? And so the Noahide laws, right, is like the laws that Noah, the descendants of Noah came up with, right? Oh yeah, you already know. Okay, yeah. Yeah. I know you know. I knew that I know that you know that you know, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I mean, like, how do you fight a spiritual war, right? How do you fight the spirit before it gets to people, right? To where it ends up being like offensive to one another, right? Like, I was a pretty liberal person growing up, right? Like, I grew up in a real liberal house, right? I didn't see, I don't know, I just went with the flow, you know? And it was kind of an effort to be like, once I started getting into the Bible, right? Like, it was kind of an effort to be like that, right? I mean, worth every bit, because I love God and I know that the rules are here to benefit us, right? But there was a time where I thought, what's fair, and what's a choice, what's not a choice. I had no idea, right? My friend helped out her friend who thought, right? He found out he wasn't and had emotional issues towards the woman he had to work on. Now he has a miss and have. Oh, okay, so he's married, right? Oh, they take advantage. Oh no. Oh, that's not good. That's kind of sad that people do that, hold things against people like that, especially when you're trying to be like open with people that you love, right? For support and, help through certain things. What's up, Brew W? I don't know if I've seen you before, but welcome. It would be cool to know how you found us, because it's hard to find this place, you know? I don't know. BRUW sounds like it sounds kind of witchy, right? Doesn't it? Like, in a way. Brew. Who knows? I've been like um looking for like signs and symbols and stuff in like videos for so long now that it's like automatic. I see 20 or 30 things all the time. Hey Shulamite, how you doing? Glad to see you. How's everything with your daughter? Everybody moved in? I've been praying for that to go well and smooth. Oh, you know him from New Zealand? That's pretty cool. Oh, you saw me at the Nut House. Right on, right on. Yeah, yeah. I like talking to Mike, man. Yeah. Welcome. Yeah. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. It's it's pretty chill here in the afternoon ones. The morning ones get a little more revved up, but it's like, just trying to focus on the good part of this narrative, right? The end part, that the whole story is about us and God, and He holds us in such high regard, right? Like he loves us so much. I mean, we're going to be very surprised when we get to where we're going, just to know how much God loves us, right? I mean, we're going to be like royalty in some in some cases, right? First Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 16, rejoice evermore. 17, pray without ceasing. 18, in everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you. Absolutely. That's the power of God right there. His power, it's his power and ability to redeem us, right? That goes to show you that just how powerful God is. He could do anything. He could turn anything around, and anybody who wants to go and start new without a rebellious spirit can come, right? And just submit to the fact that God is in charge, and that if we trust Him and rely on Him, everything is going to be great. You know, God's never broken a promise to me. There's many things that I've prayed about maybe didn't work out the way I wanted it to, right? But it worked out the best way that it could have. Yeah, I'm over here in California, Brew. We got a lot of people that live abroad in here. I'm trying to think. I know Deb lives in the United States, and so does Teresa. I have to see the rest of the people to know. Yeah, Deb works really hard to get back here, you know. I'm proud of her. And she was very patient because she deserved to come back probably before she came back. Hey George, how you doing? I'm kind of in the middle of California, like in the valley. I'm from the Bay Area, but you know, because of the how expensive things are on the coast, you get pushed up the hill. Yeah, Clutch and Alex are in Canada. I guess you could say I'm near Sacramento. It's good to see you, George. Yeah, but Greater Vancouver is a big area, right? I mean, isn't Greater Vancouver like as big as like a third of the United States or something? Oh, your dad's from California? Oh, he lives oh, okay, in the hills. Oh, okay. So he lives like closer to like Placerville and Pollock Pines and Tahoe, that kind of area. Which that's nice too. I mean, depending on how far up the hill you go, if you like snow, then you'll probably like it up there. But if you don't like snow, you'd probably rather be in the valley or in the bay. And if you want to be near LA, then that's on you. That's on you. No, Steve, that's crazy talk. It's big though. Okay. Well, hey, we got this big part, right? We learned in school, right? This is their story, right? The Louisiana Purchase was like this big old part in the middle, right? That like is big as the rest of it, right? And we supposedly bought it from France, right? And it like if you named all the states in there, and there was this joke on like I think it was Family Guy or some long time ago, and he's like, "What are the odds that all those states suck?" You know, but they're all like, they're all like, you know, I don't want to be insulting, but they were all states that just did sound exciting. Yeah, it's right smack in the middle of the country, you know. But I've spent time out there too. They're good people. Life is just much slower out there where you don't get hit with all the um how fast, you know, there's a lot of con artists out here. Always somebody trying to trick you into something or whatever. I don't know what you mean about supposedly. What did I say? Did I say something? I supposedly did something. I don't know. Well, yeah, Kansas City, Missouri area, right? Well, hey, I mean, it's good people, man. You know, I mean, you can't say that. But it's just funny. Like if you're one of the, like on a coast, there's this elitist attitude, right? Like it's like if you're from Florida or New York or or California or whatever. There's like this nasty attitude of like people thinking they're better than everybody, and that kind of joke appeals to that type of person, right? And so growing up around it my whole life, you see the humor and that kind of thing, but I also like am cursed with seeing the other side, right, of everything. Supposedly bought it from France. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? That's what they tell us, right? They said we bought the Louisiana Purchase from France, like so that they could support a war, right, against England, I think, right? But how do we know if that's true or not? They could have lied to us as kids, and they probably, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, just the idea that they would say that Columbus discovered America when there was already people here is already arrogant enough, right? Like, if there are people here living, how did you discover it? I mean, that's just, so like, how could I take anything that anybody tells me serious, Like, did they buy it from France, what, after they stole it from other people? Is that what it is? Or, I mean, I don't know. I was just born here. All that happened before I got here, but it just seems like absolutely save that oil, Dee Dee. You're right. Hey, Sacramento Truth Movement, how you doing? You're absolutely right, Dee Dee. Yes, much love, and you're in my prayers. Yeah, I mean, you're right though, Sheila. I mean, I don't think any part of it. Um, I don't think any part of it is avoidable, right? The people who think evil like that just go in a circle, right? First, they take all the gold and give you paper. Then they want all the paper. Then, they base the paper on gold. Then they take the paper off the gold. Then they want all the paper that's not on the gold. Then they give you, digital money, right? Then they want that. Like whatever they give you, they think that they're getting all the shiny value, but then they want what you think is valuable too. And it never ends. They just keep wanting more and more. you know? And so it's not enough that they stole some of it. They got to buy some of it. They got to sell it to you. Then they got to steal it back. I mean, it's unbelievable how these people act. And there's like a very small percentage of people that own everything, and they don't want you to have any of it. And not only that, but they want you to be sick on top of it. This is the craziness, right? There shouldn't be no grocery shortage. There shouldn't be a hungry person on earth. We should all get our own square of whatever. We were all born here. I mean, you can't tell me that, oh, okay, I was born here, but all the land was sold before I got here. Like, I have to live with that now because you guys made a deal. That doesn't seem very fair. What about all the future people, right? That we don't get nothing? So if you think about it like that, right? Yeah, it's no different. It's absolutely no different. It's all the same people, Sheila. And they've convinced us that we're all different, so we fight each other. But they're all at the top and they all have their little secret handshakes and, and all this other crap. And then they want to make us sick, right? But you know what? Right, right. Hey, that's the only thing we got. And I don't even know how that happened. I don't even know how that happened. Whoever made that deal, yeah, but even then, it's not enough. And you can't convince people, like, you can have 100 people to their one person, and you still can't convince the 100 that they could win. There's always going to be people that feel safer going with the herd, right? You're right, Clutch. That's where the big storms, right? Well, where Alex Diaz is, there's no road or rail. Right? Oh, okay, okay. No road or rail. That's what they told me was going to happen to me if I didn't get good grades in school. I was going to be riding the rails, man. Don't you know you're going to be riding the rails, son? Like, whatever. I don't know. Sounds good to me. Riding the train all day long? That sounds awesome. Doesn't that sound great? I don't know, man. You can call someone a hobo all you want, but riding a train everywhere seems cool to me. Yeah, you're right about that, Sheila. Like the right to bear arms is um, only if there's tyranny, right? Which I mean, if this isn't tyranny, then they're going to be allowed to do whatever they want, I guess. It's only to protect us from tyranny against our own government. Yeah, like we don't even have really the right to like. So self-defense is not even why we have the right to bear arms. We have the right to bear arms to protect us from tyranny from the government. But I mean, they define that term, right? I mean, you knew there was going to be some kind of rug pull, right? That's right. We're not. We're not. I mean, it's God's rule. I mean, but if we follow God's rules, he'll protect us, right? But we have to have faith in that. We can't take things into our own hands and then not have the faith that God is going to be there for us, right? We have to. Yeah, they do, and they know that. They know that, and they use it against us. But it is what it is, right? Well, it's time for me to hit the old dusty trail. Oh, riding the rails is spooky and dangerous. Well, then I'm glad I didn't, but I don't hate on it either, right? Like if somebody took that amount of danger, I wouldn't judge them for that, like they took on the consequences of it, right? But I guess it'll make me speak about it in a different way, I guess it's arrogant to say that riding the rails is fun if it's dangerous. Thank you for pointing that out, George. Oh, hey Karen, glad you're here. All right, guys. Well, time to hit the old dusty trail. I feel like I said that already. Praise Jesus for his sacrifice and his grace. All glory to God. He deserves it. He's the hero. And, pray for the children. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at 7 a.m. Riding the rails is being like a bum on the train or something, like being a bum riding the trains, All right, guys. Love you guys. See you tomorrow at 7 a.m.